Senate Bill 456, the Riley-Gaines Act, is now West Virginia state law, defining a man and a woman by biological sex. Governor Patrick Morrisey says this protects women's single-sex spaces, while others say it targets transgender people and their human rights. The law takes effect on July 9th, 2025. Newswatch reporter Jillian Risberg has the story.
This is an issue that is universal support, nearly universal support, yet the woke left, they always dig in their heels and they try to force the rest of the country to adhere to the radical gender ideology. Well, that's not going to happen here. That's not going to happen in West Virginia.
Gabriella Kincaid says Senate Bill 456 risks lives.
Hate against people that's changed. As Americans, we're supposed to have freedom to change and be who we want to be. We have the resources and the people to take action to make this a safer area for any and everybody.
The new law rigidly defines what it means to be a man or a woman, prohibiting transgender people from using restrooms that align with their gender identity in all state facilities.
The DMV, the state capitol, schools, and universities. And I think one thing that's particularly concerning about this bill, this new law, is that it directly conflicts with decisions at the federal Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Delegate J.B. Akers says the West Virginia Senate wants to preserve traditional single-sex spaces while providing accommodations for people who may need them.
With the gender-neutral accommodations we allowed, we recognize a very small percentage. Some people may have a medical issue in terms of their sexual development. There's accommodations for that.
In places where they've adopted inclusive laws to ban discrimination and it's easier to be out of the closet, Jack Jarvis says there have been no safety incidents.
We all care about safety, and it's already illegal to enter the restroom or a locker room or any space like that with the intent to harm someone.
Dalton Ruff calls Senate Bill 456 a good thing.
I'll tell you now, if somebody would come in the bathroom with my sister, but maybe they're still attracted to girls and they was a man. I mean, you never know what could happen in this day and time. It could go bad real fast.
According to Akers, it's complicated having biological male prisoners who self-identify as female housed in the female population.
Literally being locked in a cell with a woman when some of these biological men are convicted sex offenders. I'm not saying that's what the general trans population would do, but this is reported in mainstream media. This has happened.
Well, Jarvis says the last thing he thinks anyone wants is to put someone at risk.
When we force a transgender woman to go into the men's restroom, we put her at greater safety risk.
Single-sex spaces, Akers says, are limited to schools, domestic violence shelters, and correctional facilities. A school can offer a gender-neutral bathroom as an option.
I think a gender-neutral accommodation is reasonable under most circumstances.
This bill is going to hurt domestic violence and intimate partner violence victims the most, Jarvis says.
If we can't give them a safe haven, if we can't house trans women with other women as they are, the only option that we'll have left is to send them to a homeless shelter or put them out on the streets. And that is just a death sentence.
Delegate Akers says he'll always stand by the proposition that there are places where single-sex spaces are a necessity, like a woman in a domestic violence shelter.
I'm not being insensitive to someone who identifies as transgender, but if you're still biologically male, I think some women might need maybe some space from that for a while in that kind of setting.
According to Jarvis, this leaves us in gray territory.
I think more people are realizing how crazy a bill like this is, how it's ineffective and doesn't help people. And I hope that our lawmakers would reconsider it.
Jillian Risberg reporting for Newswatch.